You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Take 7.
So you're going to cut this into?
We'll punch this in. Broadcasting from coast to coast and around the world, it's time for Animal Talk with some of the best doggone pet people on the planet. Dr. Brad Davis, DVM and Chief of Staff for the Veterinary Centers of America. Donna Fournier, our animal behaviorist. Brian Barczak, wrangling the reptiles. And I'm Jamie Flanagan. Here it is, Animal Talk.
Whatever the problem is, pros, like the guy sitting across from me, ready and willing to help you out.
I'm Dr. Brad Davis. If there's any veterinary questions you might have.
Okay, then we have the brightest of the bunch.
I'm Donna Fournier, and I'm here to answer any training questions.
My name's Jamie. I just want to make sure everybody has a good time.
He is the hacksaw Jim Duggan of radio.
Wow.
Helping you with your pets. That's what we're here to do. The website, animaltalkradio.com, your one stop for all the digital media, and helping us out again today is our queen of digital media. Paul is here. Thanks for helping. Appreciate it. You're there. And
Thanks for having me.
there you go. And of course, the radio cast on US Web Talk Radio, and the video podcast, Ustream.tv. It's all out there. The Twitter, the tweets, all of it. So Animal Talk Radio on Twitter, Animal Talk on MySpace. And here, what we're doing today is something interesting. The first person who can, and Paula, if you would, put this out to the MySpace peeps. The first person to get 5 people to add us as their friends and say, I added you because so-and-so told me. First people to get 5 of their friends, let's just say 3 of their friends.
Okay.
Let's close the circle down a little bit. Let's not make them jump too high. It's early. We'll stretch. We'll do 5 in the second hour. 3 people, I meant to say 3 people to join, make us friends on MySpace and say, hey, so-and-so told me to be your friend. That person is going to get a DVD from the Animal Planet, either Growing Up Safari or what's the other one over there, the top one, the Dangerous something or others.
We have the Orangutan Island.
Orangutan Island.
And Untamed and Uncut.
Untamed and Uncut, yeah. So Growing Up Safari or Untamed and Uncut DVDs to give away to
but they have to say that their friend recommended them so that we can monitor.
We need to monitor who gets the first 3 people to become our friends on MySpace. We broke 1,000 friends today on Animal Talk earlier today. We passed the 1,000 threshold. Before the show's over, 2,000.
Wow.
I'm working on it right now.
We'll see. So thanks for all the people who friended us recently and have joined in the fray and are watching via Ustream.tv or listening on USWebTalkRadio.com. We appreciate you being around. Big day, lots of stuff going on. Of course, Brad is back from merry old England. We're going to find out all about your travels and what happened there. And you were able, while you were there, you got Prince Charles on the phone for us.
We did,
That's what you told us. And we believe you.
Yeah.
And coming up today, Brad, I know what a big Backstreet Boys fan you are.
I'm a huge Backstreet Boys fan.
And can you name them?
Can I name the Backstreet Boys?
Yes.
There's, Grumpy.
Yes.
Sleepy, happy, dopey.
Kevin Richardson.
Oh my God, Kevin Richardson.
Backstreet Boy. Yes. On the show today, Kevin Richardson.
Oh, that's great.
Although it's not the Backstreet Boy.
Oh, he's not a Backstreet Boy.
He went down the Amazon, and no. This is Kevin. This is another Kevin Richardson. Actually, because I got very confused when I was Googling and trying to get more information about our guest coming up. Our guest today is Kevin Richardson, the Lion Whisperer. This guy is off the hook. He is very cool. He's written a book called Part of the Pride. He's My Life with Among the Big Cats in Africa. And he's got a movie project he's working on, a feature film, White Lion. He's going to tell us all about those things. And coincidentally enough, the same name as one of the Backstreet Boys. And actually doesn't look too far afield from that person either. So it's actually, I'm hoping Kevin's got a good sense of humor. That's all I'm saying. That's, let's just say that, shall we? So, Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little leery about that. So, but that's coming up right at the, probably about 5 minutes from right now. We'll be talking to Kevin Richardson. You know what? I'm gonna bet you that's Kevin calling in now. And
that's
saying,
a great
hey,
sound effect you did right there.
could you quit with the Backstreet Boys crap already? So, yes, we'll talk to Kevin very shortly. And we will have him on and talk about all his stuff. Plus, we have some phone calls coming up. Your phone calls. I'm going to help you with your pet, and I'm going to just get your emails. We got the email questions that come in from the website, animaltalkradio.com. We always like to respond to your emails and help you out, our digital posse, as it were. So we will get your email questions, the tweets. If you add our Twitter, Animal Talk Radio on Twitter, you can tweet in your question as well. So all sorts of ways to get a hold of us digitally. And like I said, coming up right after this break, we will be talking to the Kevin Richardson, Lion Whisperer. Gotta find out if he likes that or not, or just because the Horse Whisperer was so popular in marketing, people just are pushing that.
Everything's a whisperer.
It's like gate. It's like every scandal's a gate.
Yes,
everybody's a whisperer.
So I'm gonna guess probably not. All right, I'm gonna leave money on that. So Kevin's coming up after the break, and your phone calls as well. Jamie, Donna, Dr. Brad, Animal Talk, it's America's Pet Show. Has your Fido been a Dumbo? Well, Donna can bring out the Einstein in your dog on Animal Talk. Whatever the problem is, pet professionals standing by, ready and willing to help you with your pets. And speaking of pet professionals, boy, just not necessarily pets, but truly an animal professional. Our guest today on Animal Talk has a new book, Part of the Pride, My Life Among the Big Cats of Africa. He worked as a custodian at 2 South African animal parks, and really he got in there. He became part of the pride and enrolled with the big cats. He also has a feature film, White Lion, coming up. He's going to tell us about that. And our guest today is Kevin Richardson. Kevin, welcome to Animal Talk.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me on your show.
Kevin, so working as a custodian at 2 South African animal parks, what did you do as a custodian? I mean, we know you became interacting, but what is the job of a custodian? I'm sure it's not to roll around and wrestle with them. So what initially was your job?
Well, yeah, exactly. It's a progression. It's not a single event. It started about 11 years ago, where I got the opportunity to meet 2 little lion cubs that I thought would have absolutely no impact on my life, but boy, was I wrong. It started with these 2 cubs, and I just used to go and visit them as a volunteer, really. And the owner of the park saw the relationship that was developing, and offered me part-time employment. From there, it became semi-permanent and ultimately permanent, whereby I was in charge of really looking after the welfare of all the lions at this park, and not only that, then sourcing new predators for the park as well.
Okay. Aww. So are these parks that people can visit and tour through and see the animals, or can people interact with them at these parks?
Yeah, well, the 2 different parks have actually broken away from the one park. Not due to anything bad. It was just time to move out when I started the feature film. But the one park is that kind of park whereby large tracts of people can come through and visit the lions in these semi-wild conditions. Not everyone in South Africa can get to our national parks, which are some distances away. So it provides an opportunity pretty close to the city for people to see lions in a natural habitat. So that's the one park. And then the other park, which was developed about 3.5 years ago, was specifically actually for the filming of a feature film called White Lion. And ultimately within mind that when the film finished, that I'd be able to have a sanctuary to keep the animals that I work so closely with.
Right. So, do you train these animals, or they're just there living their lives, and you're just kind of interacting with them?
Yeah. Well, that's been the interesting thing, is that I never went into any job with these animals thinking that that's going to be my profession. I never wanted to be an animal wrangler or animal trainer. That's not really what I do, and not really my passion. But there was something in it when working with these lions, and basically these 2 lions grew up, and suddenly I was working with about 60 lions. The call calls did come in when people saw the relationship that I was having with these animals, saying, oh, could you get these lions to maybe walk in front of a blue screen for a commercial? So there was that element that came from it.
Right.
But ultimately, I'm not an animal trainer, and
Sure.
I didn't have that kind of background.
Yep.
But I was making inroads into these animals' lives, and certainly I was looking at a new angle as to, if these animals were going to live in captivity, how could I enrich their lives? How can, man and beast, especially beasts of this nature, get along in captivity so that they don't have to live these, in my opinion, miserable lives in zoo-type environments? How can we enrich their lives so that if they are going to live in captivity, it can be the best possible life that they can live?
So how much spandex and sequence is involved in what you do, Kevin?
Not a whole lot.
None? All right, good. Just kidding. But lions are not the only critter you've worked with out there. You've dealt with just many hyenas, and what else have you? Other predators? What else are you working with?
Yeah, so my fascination really lies in the big cats and also the carnivores of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I try and stick to Africa because that's indigenous to where I'm from. So yeah, we've worked with spotted hyena, brown hyena, leopards, jackals, caracals. So any of the big cats that occur in Africa, I work with those, and then obviously the dangerous carnivores. A special one and holds a special place in my heart is the spotted hyena. So that's it's a very interesting animal, and I'm really trying my best to change people's perceptions the world throughout on them.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, people think of just big doggy rats, right? Just very dirty and just pretty. Donna, what is the stereotype
Dirty,
of
rotten, smelly scavengers?
Yeah, scavengers. That was the word I was searching for.
Yeah.
So these guys aren't dirty, rotten scavengers?
Not at all. I mean, it's completely the opposite. In fact, in a lot of areas in southern Africa, hyenas hunt up to 75% of what they eat.
Mm.
And in fact are more successful than lions even.
Okay.
So the fact that they make such a good villain in films is why they've probably got the negative rap. The lion's closest competitor. So in the wilds of Africa, wherever you're going to find lions living, normally you're going to find the spotted hyena. And they're incredibly resourceful. So yeah, I mean, if a hyena comes across a carcass out there, he's not going to say no. Kind of like a human taking a takeaway at the nearest fast food store. So we don't see ourselves as a scavenging type creature.
No.
We're no different. But yeah, having said that, I mean, a lot of the time, research has now found that because they're such efficient hunters, they can take down their prey very quickly and consume it very quickly. So a lot of people don't ever get to see them taking down kills, and therefore assume that everything they eat they just scavenge from.
All right, now, Kevin, I've seen several videos on YouTube of your interaction with the animals, and there was a cheetah that charged you and rolled you over, and then you got up and he was licking your face. And the worst part of it is that their tongues are really rough. I made the joke about the spandex and the sequence earlier, and the Vegas boys, really knew their animals and interacted with them, and yet still there was a big oops with one of them. Are you ever afraid of that big oops?
Well, of course, there's always a risk in everything that one does, especially when it's controversial and especially when it's dealing with things that can kill you. We know lions can kill you, but over the years I've weighed out the pros and the cons, and I always like to tell people, it's kind of like flying an airplane. We don't see pilots as these nutters, who jump into these crazy machines and try and kill themselves. But we all know the risks involved in flying. I mean, engines can quit and things can fall off planes. I mean, it's only, they're only as good as they're made, and it's normally human error. But in flying, we say you start with a bucket full of luck and a bucket empty of experience, and you hope that the one bucket fills up with experience by the time the bucket full of luck runs out. The same thing when you work with big cats. You start with no experience, and you start with all the being overzealous and all the bravery in the world. And as the years go on, if you haven't been, killed by these animals, and certainly, you haven't learned something, then yeah.
Yep. All right, so Kevin Richardson, our guest here on Animal Talk, author of Part of the Pride, My Life Among the Big Cats of Africa, also the feature film White Lion. Now, in the book, Part of the Pride, are people going to find, have you had any close calls? Are people going to find that in the book, or what will they find in the book?
Yeah, exactly that. I had a lucky lesson early on.
Okay.
And it taught me a lot. So, certainly there are a lot of close calls, and as as the experience does, build up, you try and limit those close calls. But as you quite rightly say, yes, you are working with animals that are so-called unpredictable. But that's what I delve into the book. Is that lions aren't these mindless man-eaters, and there's a lot of myths and misconceptions out there. For example, if I only go in with these lions when they're well fed, because when they're hungry, they're going to eat me.
Okay.
So, by that very logic, people are assuming that these lions are not associating with me. They, by some miracle, I'm going in there every day, and they're not seeing me as food.
Okay.
So the other one is, and I heard this from a very reputable scientist. He came across on the television, started talking about my work and said, well, one day Kevin's going to catch them in a bad mood. Now, if I haven't caught one of these lions in a bad mood over 11 years, having worked with about 60 of them very intimately, then I don't know, maybe I'm doing something right.
Yeah. So 11 years, so the luck pail is still working for you. That's a good thing.
Well, it's even though, yes, this is a much bigger animal than I typically work with, it still comes down to you understanding the cues and the way that animal is communicating with you to know, is this a bad day? And then you instinctively know by reading the animal and watching the animal. So I think a lot of it, experience, like you were saying, it takes a lot. You have to pay attention to what the animal is telling you.
Correct.
And when you can aptly read that animal, then your chances go way down for harm.
Exactly. And isn't it about relationships?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the more you get to know a subject and an individual, the better that is. And it's not too different to humans.
Right.
You walk into a room and you see a bunch of humans, you immediately connect with some and you don't with others. Why is that?
Right.
The other thing is you walk into a room full of your friends, immediately so-and-so's in a bad mood. I wonder why. I need to go up to and ask him and say, hey, listen, why are you in a bad, and pry into it. It's the same thing with those lions. They give you so many signs, probably more. And you walk in with, it's not only with the lions, obviously the leopards, the hyenas. There's certain animals that are a little bit trickier to work with because the leopards are solitary animals. And the pride animals and the clan animals, they're generally more tolerant of animals just coming and flopping down on top of them even when they are in a bad mood. Leopards aren't quite used to that. So you got to work with each slightly differently, but it does. It all comes down to reading the behavior.
All right. So Kevin, do you like the label, the Lion Whisperer?
In the beginning, I said, no, I don't really like this label, this Lion Whisperer, because it's not really what I do and who I am. But then, I started to realize that by being associated with it, it's marking me as doing something different to what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And it's a positive association. So over the years, I've actually grown to not mind it.
Okay.
Still didn't like it. You don't mind it now.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I say, people will say, but 5 years ago you said one thing and now today you say another. And it's a progression. All the time that you're working with these animals,
you learn something every day.
You learn something every day. They're teaching you something new. So I might have said something on day one, having worked with these lions, that might be absolute hogwash.
Yeah.
Day 12, year 12.
Yep.
All right, Kevin Richardson, the author of Part of the Pride, the feature film White Lion. Kevin, I got to ask you. The question is, why? Why are you doing this? I mean, besides, it's cool video that we get to watch and go, ooh, wow, neat, and you get to have that neat experience. What's your goal? Why are you doing this? Why are you working with these animals? What's your ultimate goal?
Okay, what originally started out as just enriching two animals' lives became a lot more than that when people started to see what I was doing and say, hey, this is very different. So initially I didn't want to have all this media hype and media attention. But ultimately, it's come, and you know, you got to deal with it. So I thought to myself, you know, many years ago, well, how do you put this in a positive spin, and how can this benefit lions in the wild, and how can we actually get the word out there that things are not so great in southern Africa, and in fact in Africa with lion numbers, you know, having declined from 300,000 to 23,000
Okay.
in less than a decade.
Wow.
So, and the big problem is that there's always this jostling between the scientists and the wild lions, and then the captive people and the captive lions.
Sure.
There's this negativity between the two, and instead of working together to try and say, hey, this is how we can try and conserve lions as a whole, there's always this infighting. So, you know, that's one of the big things that I'm trying to do. You know, fortunately for, you know, the internet and the media, is that you've got to reach instantaneously. It's amazing how how many people you can reach on the internet these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, people seeing me interact with these animals obviously gets them talking and gets people, you know, gee, he's going to get eaten, or but what it also does is gives the opportunity to say, hey, oh yeah, and you also mentioned the fact that lions are only down to 23,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So suddenly you've planted a seed whereby you can make a million documentaries, you know, banging on about the plight of the lion. But if people aren't drawn into it, and if they don't care about it, then, you know, nothing's going to happen.
Sure.
Yep.
So, so are lions in the wild? Are they endangered, or are they in trouble?
Yeah, they are endangered. They've been moved off in you know, the IUCN from being not least concerned to near threatened, and in
Okay.
fact in South Africa now they are now threatened or protected species list.
Okay.
So
Excellent.
that's it's of grave concern,
Yeah.
and it's mainly due to habitat loss, human
Yeah.
encroachment, you know,
All right.
and there is the hunting and the poaching and that kind of thing, and disease does come into it too, but you know, it's not as a grave concern as the habitat loss.
What can people do if they're like, well, yeah, I've seen the lions he works with, and if there was a way I could help, how could people help lions in the wild?
Well, basically, what I'm doing at the moment is setting up a website, and that'll be, you know, my own website. But I'm starting to link up. In fact, my boss, who helped set up the sanctuary that I've got at the moment, he funds a lot of research in Botswana on predators, and you know, so I'll have links to that, and people can, you know, pick and choose. I'm not going to put on a website advocating that people must respond.
Yeah.
Here, they have a choice.
Is there, because one of the groups that I work with is called Defenders of Wildlife, and they're pretty much everywhere. They look around at any species that's endangered, in jeopardy, and try to raise awareness about that. Have you looked into working with groups like the Defenders to try to get them on board? Because I know I've adopted penguins, family of penguins and donate, and my nephew, I adopt him a wolf every year. He gets to say he's part of the help there. And I recently saw that they did add lions onto their list. So I was wondering if this was a group that you have potentially been working with.
No, I haven't, and I'd be very interested in getting those details and trying to hook up with them. You know.
Yeah, they've been wonderful. They've done a lot of work, because what you're saying about the way the lions are viewed in South Africa is kind of the way wolves are viewed here. Their habitats are being destroyed. They're being kicked out of everywhere, and so it's along the same lines of, for our wildlife, what we're dealing with, and groups like Defenders have been around for a very long time, and they've taken on a lot of different, like I said, any animal for them in particular, you know, any animal that's in jeopardy, even if their numbers, if they're not on the endangered list, but their numbers, they see a drastic decline, like what you were saying with the lions, they're a group that usually tries to get in and work.
Well, fantastic. I'll either try and get those details from you or look them up. I'm sure I'll find them on the net.
Oh, yes.
And you know, it's happening more places than just South Africa. Even here in Detroit this weekend, our lions were destroyed once again. It was miserable and horrible, and we're used to it though. So they
totally different animal.
Yeah,
It's a totally different.
that's a different gig altogether. But
Yep.
so. Kevin Richardson, you have the movie, the feature film White Lion. What's the goal of White Lion? Is it because you said it was shot on one of these
Sanctuaries.
Sanctuaries. Is it really a documentary? Is it a documentary about you and your interactions, or what is it exactly?
It's actually a lifelong dream of the. He's become like my father, but he's the my partner in the new sanctuary, and also my old boss at the old lion park. So, but it's been his 25-year dream to make a feature film showing really what it is like to grow up as a lion, a male lion in the wild. Because a lot of documentaries only take little segments of it. Either they catch them when they're very, very young, and then we flip over a couple of pages, and next thing these big adult males just living off the females and having this life of luxury. So he actually wanted to show how tough it is for a young male lion born into the wilds of Africa to make it, to become that male lion that everyone perceives to be as this king of the jungle. So, and then he threw a spanner in the works and said, well, it's going to make it even more tricky if its journey if it was white. So it's a fictional story, but it's based on the truth. And it actually follows the life of this lion, trying to make it to become this adult. And then thrown into the mix of things is all the lovely things that we faced within this world, like the trophy hunters, and all of that kind of thing. So it's a lovely family feature, family tale. It's suitable obviously for all ages, and it just gets people looking at lions in a different way and from their perspective, and kind of like a real life Lion King kind of thing.
So, all right. So, the book, Part of the Pride, My Life Among the Big Cats of Africa, that came out this month?
That's right. I believe on the 1st of September.
Okay. And so that's available. Where can people find the book, Part of the Pride, My Life Among the Big Cats?
In Barnes & Nobles and Borders bookstores.
Okay. And all the online sellers, so it's everywhere?
Well, yeah.
Okay. And you're the author of that? They look you up, Kevin Richardson, they'll find you as the author?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And the film itself, White Lion, when is this going to be? Is it released? When can people see this, and where can they see it?
Yeah, so I've been, I've done several trips previously to the US to seek out distribution here. We've decided we're going to release it world premiere in Australia first. We want to see how it does there. Also in our home territory, obviously South Africa. So South Africa will go out in December. Early next year in Australia, and then judging on the, obviously the success and the performances of it there, we hope to come to the States and then release it obviously towards the middle of next year.
Okay, excellent. So we'll look forward to that. Please, when you go to do the release, get a hold of us again. We'll get a hold, or we'll see it coming up, and we'll get a hold of you. We'll talk to you again about that for sure, just to remind people the work you're doing and the really cool stuff.
That'll be fantastic.
And hope your bucket of luck keeps you going till then. What about ecotourism? Brad, our vet here, took a trip to Africa. So you were an ecotourist. You went and he actually called in. He had a satellite phone, and he called in from the middle of the wilds of Africa, and we could hear the beasts in the background.
Yes.
How important is ecotourism? Because usually you think of tourism as a negative thing towards wildlife and things. How can you make ecotourism a positive thing for the lions?
I think it's hugely important, ecotourism, and we got 2010 coming up, the World Cup soccer, in June next year for South Africa.
I thought you were going to start quoting Nostradamus there. World Cup. Okay, all right, go ahead. 2010. Go ahead.
2010 World Cup for South Africa. So it's a big sporting event.
Right.
And
that's 2012.
Ecotourism is extremely important in getting all these foreigners that come over
to
our parks. And we hope to be open. This sanctuary that I set up for the lions that I work with, we hope to be open up to the public then as well. And just show them a little bit about what I'm doing, and let a lot of people just to end off with like to take a picture and they look at it and they go, oh well, that's what they read into it. But it's not a segment in time. It's a process. And when people get to see me actually at the sanctuary working with the animals, then they realize that there is method to the madness.
Yeah. All right, well, Kevin, I just lost it. If people want to get a hold of you or find out what you're doing, do you have a website, or does the sanctuary have a website where they can see what's going on and keep up with you and your adventures?
Yeah, as I say, there is going to be a website coming out for me personally. I don't know what it's going to be called yet. Probably something along the lines of Lion Whisperer.
There you go. Yeah.
But in the interim, if there is any questions or people want to know, they can get me on the White Line website, the movie website, and that'll link back to me.
All right. So if they and what's the do you know what that is offhand?
Yeah, that's www.whitelionthemovie.com.
Okay, there you go. Brilliant. All right, Kevin Richardson, that was it's fantastic. It's just wonderful. Do you get the Backstreet Boy joke a lot at all?
No, I do.
No?
I do quite a bit. Actually, so it was on the, my wife read me one of these emails one day and said, well, they didn't realize that Kevin Richardson was so talented that he could sing and he works with lions.
That's right. Phenomenal. You're great on the keyboards. And you got the whole line thing. Because if you just Google, Kevin Richardson, images of both of you come up, and you don't look that too much far afield. It's both dark-haired guys, and
brothers.
the rugged I fight with lions look kind of going. So that's cool. So I'm sorry, I just had to do
not a musical bone in my body, I'm afraid.
Had to do the Backstreet thing to you. I apologize.
No worries.
All right, Kevin, I'm going to put you on hold for a second because Donna has a little bit of information she wanted to share with you. So if I can put you on hold for just a second, we're going to go to a break. We'll grab you on the side here, too. Thanks so much for being with us. And White Lion, themovie.com. Check it out. We'll be right back. More Animal Talk. Hang on, Kevin. Is your starfish becoming a diva? Well, give Animal Talk a call. And the email is jamie@animaltalkradio.com. Good way to get a hold of us. Just kick an email through that way, and we'll help you with your pet. All sorts of digital media going on. Our queen of the digital media is over there wrangling it all in. We got the tweets and the Twitter and the MySpace and the Facebook.
Yeah.
All this stuff going on. And we had a contest going on. The first person, actually the first two people who can get three of their friends to add us as a friend on MySpace. We will have a DVD, either Growing Up Safari or the dangerous one. It's
Untamed and Uncut.
Untamed and Uncut. It's 2 hours of people getting bit and torn up by stuff. It's great.
I still haven't seen it.
I can tell you how many times in that video it's like, hey, watch this. No, but it's good. They're both series, Untamed, Uncut, and Growing Up Safari. They're both series from the Animal Planet. Growing Up Safari, it's actually, speaking of, kind of ties into our last guest there we just talked to for a little bit, Kevin Richardson, about hyenas. And it shows hyenas not being so hyenas. Not being such heinous creatures that they're portrayed. They got bum rap in
just
cartoons,
like wolves do. Wolves throughout every fairy tale are evil and horrible creatures, and they're not.
So it's actually that one is the Growing Up Safari is charming. That's the awe factor if you like that one, or the Untamed Uncut if you're like, yeah, let's see somebody get messed up. So both are very both are entertaining on two ends of the realm, both to do with animals. So if you get three friends to join our MySpace page, or even we'll throw it out there to our Twitter people. You have three people to join our tweets and say, hey, I'm tweeting you now because so-and-so told me. You get three of your friends to join the tweet or the MySpace. We'll get you a DVD and have some fun with it. So you can give us a call, the MySpace, Animal Talk Radio on the Twitter, and we'll get through that way. We like to answer those emails when they come in and help people out. And Brad, did we have an email over there we wanted to help somebody with?
I don't know if we want to, but sure. Dear Animal Talk.
Got mail, baby, yeah.
I just read that 3% of the people in the U.S. shower with their pets.
Oh.
Do you? And this is signed Mervyn.
Kirby's very afraid of... were you putting this to me? I just started to answer. Kirby, my cat, Kirby, is very, very, very water phobic. So if you're in the restroom, he'll come into the bathroom when you're in there. He will push the door open because it doesn't always latch all the way shut. So he'll like push the door open. And I don't know if any of you guys, because we do the show from my house, the studio's here at my house, and if you've used the restroom, I don't know if Kirby's ever barged in on you, but he'll do that. And if you just reach over and turn on the faucet, he goes running. So if the shower is running,
you're still stuck with the door open.
He won't. Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Anyway.
So no evidence to say that you did shut the door.
Yes. So
That just ruins the video. But anyway, but the cat does not go in the shower with you.
He will not come in the shower. No. No.
What about you, Brad?
No.
You don't take the birds in?
No. Well, the one time I took the cat in, I didn't have a washcloth. But,
so the bear and the rabbit are in the woods.
All right.
But no, but my wife will take the macaw and into the shower because macaws they love it. They just think it's the greatest thing ever to be in the shower. And oddly enough, the macaw, my favorite animal.
Yes. There's a camera on now. Remember that.
My favorite animal. It's and again air horn with feathers.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scared to death of the water bottle.
Oh,
you squirt a water bottle at it. It's scared to death. It goes hiding and goes away. So I'm often carrying one of those. But you take it in the shower. Hog heaven.
Okay.
1,000 shooting at it at once. Oh, this is great. One, that's not enough. So, but it loves it. It loves doing that. Now, I bet you've had the dog in the shower with you.
No.
No.
Ew.
She's much cleaner than that.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Here's among other issues, but let's just look at the fact that they're covered in fur.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when you bathe a dog? Okay, I've taken my dogs to bathe them. I go to one of those dog wash places,
right?
Where I'm not using my tub to put all that dog hair in.
Hey.
Hello. So, so you're washing a dog, your hands get wet from washing the dog, and then you end up with dog hair all over you. So can you imagine showering? Again, this is among other things which we're just not going to go there, but that being a big issue too. I mean,
guys have been in locker rooms, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of guys in there covered in fur as well.
Oh, I don't even want to know about that.
And that's, wow. But
that's man style. That's what that is. All right.
Not on the back, it's not.
So the answer would be no.
And helping you with your pets, Jamie, Donna, Dr. Brad, Animal Talk. It is America's Pet Show. Do you wish your sea lion was an A or B lion? Well, Animal Talk's your tutor. Just give us a call, and we got the pet professionals standing by, ready and willing to help you out, whatever the problem might be. We have the Twitter out there, Animal Talk Radio on Twitter, and we had a question posed for today. All right, our Twitter question today was, Paula, what did you throw out there at people?
We asked today if people take their animals, their pets, cats, dogs, whatever, on vacation with them, or if they do the boarding or sitters, what do they do?
Okay. So, Brad, you just took an extended leave. How many days were you out of the country?
10 days.
10 days. So you have a menagerie at the house. How many pets do you have at the house?
Oh, gosh. There's 4 real animals and then a bunch of birds.
Okay. So what did you do with these animals while you were gone?
Well, the one's still very young, so we thought it wasn't good for a pet sitter to do that, so we had them stay at my wife's clinic, and the cats stayed around the house. We have someone come in and take care of them.
Okay. So a combination of boarding. You're lucky you have a clinic that you can board them in.
Yeah.
And the clinic stayed open while you were gone.
Owning a boarding facility helps.
Yeah. So there you go. That came in handy. But typically you go with a pet sitter that comes into their habitat and helps them out. I'll do that too. If I go on vacation, and I've taken Kirby on vacation, I've flown with Kirby. The cat, had him stowed in the overhead compartment. No.
Under the seat.
No. But I did have to put him under the seat. I did, where my feet are. And there's a little screen. He's looking at me like, seriously, dude. Seriously.
Really?
Really? This
You couldn't have got me my own
for somebody, right?
You got any gum?
My ears are popping.
His pointy ears over here. Need a little help. So, but if we don't take him, we did when we went to Ireland for 2 weeks the first time. We tried letting someone else take him to their house, and
Didn't you stay with your aunt?
No. It was the friends of my sisters, and they thought, well, it was the summer, and they're like, hey, we should get a puppy. So they're babysitting my cat over their house, and they get a puppy.
Oh, poor Kirby.
That didn't end well for anyone or any carpet concern.
Oh, poor Kirby.
Kirby let loose with all kinds of stuff all over that house. Yes, and Kirby's not an accident kind of boy at all.
No, he's pretty well behaved.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Poor guy.
So there you go. So after that, we went with if we don't take Kirby with us on the vacation, we have a pet sitter come in. What about you, Donna?
Well, and now with Zoe too.
Yeah, and we have the dog Zoe. So usually, Zoe will go with my wife Colleen's dog. Will go to one of her relatives because a dog needs 2 visits a day. A cat you can get away with 1 visit a day. A dog, you got to have 2 visits a day
minimum.
Yeah, and so yeah, at least, and she and Zoe, she would just get bored and depressed, and the 2 of them would, I don't know, what would happen when we came
Come
back.
back to a trashed house.
Yeah, so it was crazy. That cat dog cartoon idea came from somewhere, I guess. But we'll board Zoe, and Kirby still has the pet sitter come in and spoil him here.
Mine go to grandma's.
Yeah.
Yeah. They used to stay
relatives
at the house, and one or the other sister would come and take care of them. Because I travel a lot.
Yeah.
This year's been a very calm year for me, but normally I'm gone all the time, and when it really comes down to it, if all my family, like for example, almost the entire family was up north at one point, so if in a pinch, we'll actually go and have them stay at Brad's doggy daycare. But mostly they have family to stay with, and they stay in their own home.
What were our people responding to on the tweets?
Most people like having somebody come into the house and stay with their animals overnight.
Okay.
And that'll do it for another installment of Animal Talk. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for supporting our sponsors. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Animal Talk Radio, and of course the website, animaltalkradio.com. We'll see you next time on Animal Talk.